Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to go back to the 80s era, one of my favorite periods in film, to talk about this cult horror movie called The Brain from 1988. Spoilers ahead if you haven't seen this one. With that said, this movie involves an alien organism that uses a TV program in order to brainwash gullible viewers in order to eat them. But really, most of the movie is just this guy chasing after this guy. Yeah, this is gonna be really good. Alright, so let's dig into the plot a bit more here, and like I said, I am gonna get into spoilers, so that's your warning. Okay, so we have the character of Dr. Blake, played by David Gale, who runs Independent Thinking, a TV show promoting a self-help quasi-religious program. With the help of an alien organism, Dr. Blake brainwashes his viewers through TV. Only a delinquent high school student with a high IQ named Jim, played by Tom Bresnahan, can stop Dr. Blake and his evil plans. Alright, let's begin by talking about the character of Dr. Blake, played by the late David Gale. And if you're familiar with David Gale and his career, particularly in the late 80s and early 90s, you'll know that he has this track record of playing these creepy, corrupt corporate dudes who end up really just being aliens disguised as human beings. He played this kind of role in The Guyver in the early 90s. Now he's playing it again here in The Brain. Whenever he appears, he is just so exaggerated, over the top. He knows the assignment, how like ridiculous the movie is, and the tone of the movie is campy, it's cheesy, but he just like takes it a step further always and makes it even more surreal to watch, you know? And that actually works in favor with the kind of character he's playing, because he's playing an alien in disguise. Ironically, a more convincing and persuasive performance because, you know, he's supposed to appear a little off, not completely kind of natural, and he just like plays that up to the hilt. He is like awesome. My first impression of Dr. Blake was that he was this kind of mad scientist, Frankenstein-like character who created this monster in a lab, the Brain. This movie is above all a creature feature, and the movie does deliver on that B-movie creature feature level. The effects are incredibly campy and corny. A lot of the kill scenes featuring the Brain are hilarious and ridiculous looking and just so fake and artificial, and you just can't take it seriously at that point. So the artificiality of the creature effects adds to the overall surreal, psychedelic experience of the movie, which takes an even more surreal turn when Jim is experimented on by Dr. Blake and becomes a guinea pig for his mind control agenda, which caused Jim to hallucinate. And often these hallucinations have a psychosexual element to them, which, as you can expect, creates more opportunities for kind of softcore B-movie scenarios where at one point he's like mentally undressing, you know, the hot blonde nurse in Dr. Blake's office, for example. But also the creature, the monster, the Brain, appears in Jim's dream world as well. And I found those sequences kind of unnerving and jarring and kind of ironically achieving their intended effect. Speaking of Jim, that guy is running like Tom Cruise for a lot of this movie. There are quite a few chase scenes, mostly involving Jim running away from Verna, Dr. Blake's assistant, played by George Buza, who I recently found out voiced the character of Beast in X-Men, the animated series, and X-Men 97. So that was cool to know about. He's basically just the hired serial killer in this movie. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a patient or a police officer, you know, he's probably going to lop your head off, you know, and have a depraved look about it while he's doing it. The first chase scene happens right after Jim is caught spying on Dr. Blake and the creature in the lab, which causes Jim to run for his dear life with Verna in hot pursuit. What also makes this scene so funny to me is that it's not this giant monster brain that causes Jim to run for his life. It's only when Dr. Blake looks directly at him that he starts running. And it's like, come on, man, like have some kind of reaction to what you just saw. You also get an insane death scene here where the Brain eats one of Jim's friends, Willie. But for me, as wild and baffling as that whole scene is, it's not as insane as this shot of Verna running right here. Hands down, that's the scariest thing in the movie. And it just gets crazier from there, with Verna lopping off the sheriff's head while Jim and his girlfriend escape to safety. A couple scenes later, trailer, we get another chase scene, this one at Jim's high school with him running like crazy from some agents. As we head into the third act, we get another really cheesy beheading scene with Jim punching off Dr. Blake's head in front of a live audience. And man, the way the head easily pops off the body, it's so laughably bad and awful looking. But you also discover that Dr. Blake isn't human. He has green blood, so what's that about? You know, the film never really explains it. Maybe the brain has been the puppet master all along, as I think is the case, and has created Dr. Blake as a drone, and maybe created Verna as well. The film never really gives you any backstory or explanation. You just run with it. Let's face it, story really doesn't matter in a B-movie creature feature like this. You know, that's not really why we're here. And also, the satire in the movie really fizzles out by the end of it. You know, the whole satire about how TV and the media brainwash us and how we as consumers end up being figuratively and literally in this movie consumed and eaten by the very thing we're consuming, TV. That whole satire amounts to nothing at the end of it, you know, and, you know, the creature feature aspect of this movie is the centerpiece here. But thankfully, right after Dr. Blake's death scene, we get yet another chase scene. Like I said, a lot of this movie is just watching Jim running around like crazy. It's hilariously bad. It's not a good movie, of course, but I always get a kick out of these cult horror movies. I just enjoy the hammy, over the top acting and performances, and also how the effects kind of expose how cheap and fake they are and expose the mechanics behind the effects. I always get a kick and a rise out of that. So let me know if you've seen The Brain. I think it's currently still streaming on Shudder if you have access to that. It's a fun midnight watch, you know, if you're a horror fan, if you're into that kind of like good bad movie experience, you know, this is kind of fun. It delivers. So, with that said, let me know your thoughts on cult horror movies. If you have any recommendations for me, let me know if you've checked out The Brain or plan to. And please like and subscribe and look forward to more videos coming your way soon here.